Hey you guys, I want to apologize for, first off, my eyebrows. I can't get them done, and then my bad lighting. So I have a little bit lighting, so I'm gonna try to do this video quick because I have appointment with my school at 4:30. So I'm gonna try to do this video kind of quick, but hopefully it's quick. But you guys don't know, but I was pregnant. I did get married. I did on my last, not my last video, but my second to last. I think I'm gonna post a video before this. But my other video of me doing my, what was I doing? My Dollar Tree and 5 and Below makeup. I told in that video that I told you guys in that video that I got married. So I got married in December, and right off the bat we said that we want to start having kids. I mean, just because we both come from a background where you have to wait until you're married to even have kids. Like, that's just what our religion is and everything like that. And you know, to have the joy from families and stuff like that, you wait till you get married. So that's what we did and stuff like that. So the first month we got married in December. So like, I was on my period the week that we got married anyway. So we tried, like, after my period and stuff like that, nothing happened. We thought that, you know, we conceived that month, but and then my period came on, we didn't conceive. So that was a bummer. So then I, like, because my husband was kind of sad and stuff like that, so I was like, okay, so I'm gonna go out and go buy the home, what is it, the Easy Home or Home Easy, I can't remember, Easy Home or Home Easy. You have ovulation tests and pregnancy tests in there. So I went out and I bought that when I was on my period. I got it from Amazon. It really isn't that expensive. So I said, I'm going to track my ovulations and then have sex when my ovulation is, you know, high and stuff like that. So I did. So this is in January of this year. So I might have to turn the camera around, or I might put it in here. But so I wrote all the days and stuff like that, and then you see that it, like, progresses and stuff like that, and then the hearts are the days that we had sex. And then this is my temperature. I did my temperature on this side. I think I only did it for a couple of days. Yeah, I only did it for a couple of days. And then I started tracking these are pregnancy tests. Start tracking these, and then the times and stuff like that, and DPS. So, and I have all of these too. These are disgusting. These are from a different box that I had. See some of them. These are ovulation tests also. So I did all this in July, and I guess this one is too. No, this one's in April. I did all that in July, and we didn't conceive. Probably because we didn't have sex that much or whatever like that, but we didn't conceive. So that was a bummer. So then we was like, okay, let's just not try. Let's just not try. Let's just have fun, not try. Like, you know, if a baby comes. So February comes, get my period. After we didn't conceive in January, got my period, and then all of a sudden I didn't track my ovulations, nothing like that. And all of a sudden March comes, and I am like 3 days late, and my husband is like, babe, did you get your period? Like, he is so, like, he, like, ever since we've been trying or whatever like that, he is, like, on top of my period. Like, he be looking in the trash and see if he sees tampons or anything like that, and they're like, he's crazy. And so he's like, babe, did you get your period? Like, all the time. Babe, you get your period? I'm like, no. And he's like, aren't you late? I'm like, yeah, I'm like a day late. And then he's like, okay. He's like, okay, so when you gonna take a test? I'm like, not right now. Like, oh, let's wait till this whole week pass by, and then we gonna see. Because sometimes I like be late a whole entire week, but I'm not pregnant. Like, my period come on because I didn't, you know, stuff like that. So I'm like, oh, let's wait a week, because my period can be 3 days, 4 days, 5 days late sometimes. So I was like, let's wait. So he's like being like, you know, Aggie about like take it. It's like 3 days now. He's like, take a test, take a test, take a test, take a test. I'm like, oh my gosh. So just to shut him up, I literally physically just took a test. Like, I was just like, oh my gosh. Like, so I went to the bathroom. It was like during the day. I went to the bathroom, and then I peed on the sticks. I left it in the bathroom. I came back out here. We was talking, and then we was watching this movie, and I totally forgot about the test. And then I was like, bloop, in my head, like, oh shoot, I actually took the test. Like, no, I really forgot about the test, y'all. Like, I really did. So I go back and look at it, and it said positive. I was like, oh my gosh, like, I could not believe that it was positive. Like, I really could not believe it was positive. And what was it? I think I did. Oh, I did take a test on the 4th. I don't know, but this one was negative. I don't know where that went to. I really don't. But this was March. So I found out in March. So we conceived in, so this was January then. Yeah, this was in January. Because we conceived in February, and then 4 weeks, of course, will be a positive test. So we found out in March. So I think I am not even sure, y'all. One of these 3 I took first. I think it was these 2. I think it was these 2 I took first. And I don't know how this is still saying pregnant, because now we are in May, and it's like 2 weeks till June. Like, I'm filming this now on May 14th. Is it May 14th? Yeah, it's May 14th. So we got like 2 weeks till June, and this is still saying, I mean, I think it's 3 months, I guess. So this is still saying pregnant. So I found out I was pregnant, and this is the other one. It's kind of like, this was like so much darker. Like, well, you can still see it. The second line is darker than the what you call it. And then I couldn't believe it. I gave it to, I threw it in his lap, and so then like I literally just threw it in his lap and was like, I'm pregnant. Like, I told him, look at it, and then he looked at it. He was like, what does this mean? I was like, read it. And he was like, no. I was like, yep. I was like, I'm pregnant. And so, and so it was happy time. I started crying. I started bullhole and crying. Like, I could not believe, like, I really was like, oh my God. I started crying and stuff like that. So, I mean, it was bittersweet. But I was nervous because I'm going to do a story time on this, about this. But my first pregnancy ever, I had a topic pregnancy. So I was nervous and scared because I didn't want this to be an ectopic pregnancy. I didn't want to be all excited and stuff like that, and it's ended up being an ectopic pregnancy. So I was nervous at the same time. And that day, I couldn't even keep quiet. I told my mom and my sister that same day I could not keep quiet for nothing. I don't know why, but I couldn't keep quiet. And then the second day, because I did not believe, even though I had a digital right here, I did not believe it. So I took two little ones, and they both said pregnant. So I was like, what? I guess I'm pregnant. So then I called my doctors, and then they scheduled an appointment, and I was supposed to go on my cruise. And then I was supposed to go on my cruise. So they scheduled me the weekend after my cruise, and I said, okay, that's cool for my first appointment. But I started, what was it, about a week? I think it was a week. No, a couple of days, probably like 4 days. 4 days after I called my doctor and stuff like that, and 5 days after I found out, I started having cramps. And it's like kind of like the same cramps of how I was when I was on my topic pregnancy, like how I had my topic pregnancy. So I called my doctor's office and told them I was having cramps and everything like that. And I was like, they're kind of sharp a little bit and stuff like that. And she was like, okay, let's get you in for an ultrasound. Let's see what's going on. So they got me in for ultrasound on a Wednesday, exactly at 5 weeks. And only reason I know because they told me. So this is my ultrasound pictures from 5 weeks. This one, I don't know what you can see. But I don't know. I think she was going around this one. Yeah, I don't know. But here goes there goes the little sack or whatever like that, and the embryo and stuff like that. So this was at exactly 5 weeks because she measured and it measured at exactly 5 weeks. So then she was like every Wednesday will be a new week for me. And she said she wants to see me back in 2 weeks to hear a heartbeat and to make sure everything's growing. But that ruled out ectopic pregnancy. So I was happy. Like, I was so happy. So I tried to take it easy, especially at work and stuff like that. But I think I was doing a little bit too much too, because I was driving equipment at work. I work at a warehouse, so I was driving equipment and stuff like that. So, I mean, I wasn't driving any high ones, but I was driving the low ones and, you know, the bumps and stuff like that. So, I mean, I think I did a little bit too much. But, so they sent me back in 2 weeks. I went back in 2 weeks, and this is my second ultrasound at, 7 weeks. 7 weeks. This is my 7 weeks ultrasound. And this is the heartbeat. The heartbeat was at 130 and stuff like that. There go my little nugget. And so, then she was like, okay, well, we see if we heard the heartbeat, I think you should. I mean, I already had an appointment already for the 13th, and I was like, okay, I'm like, well, that's when the COVID started, and then they shut down everything, and I wasn't going to be able to go anyway. So, I still had my appointment, and then a couple weeks later, not even a week later, a week later from that day, we had to go at work, we had to go into the freezer, and I have carpal tunnel on my hands, and I was like, I thought I could do it, and then all of a sudden I was just like, oh my gosh, like, I was like burning. I was like, I had to get out of there, and I told them I can't do it, like, I really cannot be in here, and everything like that. And so they said okay and everything like that. And then before that day, 2 days before that day, I went to the emergency room because I just felt something wasn't right. I was like cramping really bad. I was spotting a little bit and stuff like that. But they did an ultrasound. They did all the tests, stuff like that. But the ultrasound, they said they can't hear a heartbeat. And so I was like, okay, is my baby alive or dead? And it was like, well, we don't know, just follow up with your OB, stuff like that. So my husband was like, no. This is the time where it was COVID, and he couldn't even come into the emergency room with me. So he calls OSU hospital, and he calls the main campus, because that's where I went, OSU. And they said that they don't have the right tools to hear a heartbeat at 8 weeks. I was almost like, I was around 8 weeks. They couldn't hear the heartbeat at 8 weeks. So they was like, we was all like, oh, okay. So we thought that we would still have our ultrasound appointment the 13th of April. But they said that they gonna take it away. They ended up taking it away from me. And after the freezer, I just knew something was wrong. Like, my body just felt totally different. My boobs used to be aching pain. Like, that's how I knew everything was right. And that's how my doctor told me, was like, when your boobs is aching pain, then you know everything is still growing. My boobs stopped hurting as much, everything like that. And then I was stressing so bad. Like, I was going through stuff with my family and stuff, my dad's side of family and stuff like that, that was making me cry a lot and stuff like that. Just a whole bunch of drama and stuff like that. So I was just stressing a lot and stuff like that. And then I was doing equipment. It was just like a whole lot of stuff that I was doing, which I should never have been doing. So we go to my appointment on the 13th, and I was 9 weeks and 5 days or something like that. 4 days, 5. I think it was 5 days. 9 weeks and 5 days. It was on a Monday. And so she just basically did blood work and talked to me. Like, we didn't do no ultrasound, nothing like that. She just did blood work, talked to me. And I told her my concerns about the ultrasound. She said, well, they measured it. Everything measured good and stuff like that. And I was like, okay. So that day, I went home. And walking up the stairs to my apartment, I just felt like, something was going on down there. And so I went to the bathroom, and I wiped, and it was literally, I'll try to put in, if I can figure it out, how to edit, because I'm still learning how to edit. Try to put in a picture of, like, disclaimer and TMI when we put it in here of how much it was, because it wasn't like a little spot. It was like literally like, but it wasn't in my underwear yet. It was literally like when you wipe, it was like a lot, like literally this is my hand, and it was a lot of blood in there when I wiped. So I got nervous and stuff like that. And my husband, I called my husband. I'm like, babe, we gotta go back to the hospital. He's like, no, it's just spotting. It's just a little bit. You're okay and stuff like that. And I'm like, okay. I was like, nah, this continue in the next 2 days. We going to the hospital, or I'm calling my doctor's appointment. Calling my doctors, not doctor's appointment. Calling my doctors. So he said, okay. So it's been going on all day. And so it eventually kind of stopped and everything. And I was okay. I was like, okay, it stopped. And then the next day, it kind of stopped. And then the following day, it started back up again. And so then that's when I called my doctors. I'm like, I am spotting really bad. I'm having a little cramping with it and stuff like that. It's like, okay, let's get you in for an ultrasound on a Friday. So I go into my doctor's office, and it's a doctor I don't know because it's off the blue, like emergency ultrasound. So I went in, and he did one on my tummy because by then I should have been 10 weeks and 2 days. He did one above my tummy, and he could not see anything. And already I knew something was wrong. Something wasn't right. So he went in vaginally, and he looked, and the baby was small. Like, it was almost the same size as, sorry, I'm looking at my watch saying who texted me. But it was almost the same size of when I went my 7 weeks. So, where is it? I think it's only one picture. Yeah, he only gave me one picture. So, this is the only picture and stuff like that. So, he measured it. He tried to find a heartbeat. He couldn't find a heartbeat. And then he told me that there is no heartbeat and the baby has passed. And I passed around 8 weeks and 5 days. So, around probably like a day after the freezer thing. Like, I went in the freezer, and then my doctor said I should never went in the freezer, shouldn't have been stressing. All the stuff that I said that I really should never been doing, I shouldn't have been doing. So at that point, I actually stayed strong. I couldn't believe it, but I had tears in my eyes, but I didn't cry, just because, you know, I am faithful, and I am religious and stuff like that, you know, not to people who are not religious and stuff like that. But I mean, it is in God's hands, and stuff happens for a reason. You know, something could have been wrong with the baby, and it would have been hard for me. You know, or with this being my first baby, you know, delivery in November, nobody can come in the delivery room with me. Like, you never know what God has planned for you in your life, or what He chooses to do. If He chooses to make you have kids, or make you don't have kids, or chooses to do this and do that. So we don't know what God's plan is. We just have to accept it and, you know, see what He wants for us in our life. So with that being said, I had tears in my eyes. I didn't cry because, you know, they was talking to me and talking to me about my options. Do I want to do a DNC? Do I want to just wait and see if it come out naturally? Do I want to take medicine, get rid of it? He gave me time to think about it. And so I said, I just want to, let's just do medicine. It was like medicine. I insert, I cannot pronounce it. It's like Misfall or something like that. I can't remember. But he gave me medicines. He said he gonna send it to my doctors. He told me to just insert all 4 tablets in at one time, and then let it take its course. And he explained to me what's gonna happen and stuff like that. So I said okay. So then when I got in the car, I just cried. Like, I literally just cried on the way to the to my doctor's, well, not my doctor's, my pharmacy. And I just cried, and I texted my husband, and I told him, I said, we lost the baby. And I called my mom, and my mom was, you know, trying to guide me and everything like that in the right way, saying she's sorry, and, you know, basically the same thing I said, you know, it's in God's hands, stuff happens for a reason and stuff. It was very helpful and stuff like that. And then I took my medicine, I went home, and I ate, I picked up food, I ate, and my husband was like, I'm coming home. Like, he was at work, and he was like, I'm coming home. Like, I'm coming home. I was like, well, there's nothing you can do. He's like, no, I'm coming home. And so he came home, he been with me. You know, he said sorry. I'm like, well, I'm sorry too, because this is your loss too. It's not just my loss, it's your loss too. So I felt bad too. So he said sorry and everything. I'm like, I'm sorry. And then I was like, you know, I mean, we can always try again and stuff. So I ate, and then around noon, that's when I started taking the pills. How can I explain it? It was like literally like the worst feeling in the world. Like, oh my gosh, like, I would not wish anybody to go through a miscarriage and go through the pain of a miscarriage, especially if the baby didn't want to come out naturally. You gotta take medicine for the baby to come out and stuff like that. I do not wish that on my enemy. It is the worst feeling in the freaking world. It is the worst, more worse than when I had my ectopic pregnancy and they gave me shots in my thighs. Like, it was so bad. So my mother-in-law came over around 2. That we was all talking and stuff like that, because I was laying in bed. We was all talking, and they came in with a chair and then sat around me talking, and then they ended up coming in the living room so I can try to miscarriage on my own. Then my father-in-law came over, and then probably around I want to say like around 8, like all of my husband's family started coming over and, you know, saying sorry, and we all ate together. And, you know, because at that time I wasn't really past anything. I was cramping a little bit, but it kind of was going away. I haven't really passed anything, and it was actually nice. I felt loved. I really did feel loved by my husband's family. I mean, I haven't been married to the family and married to my husband for that long period of time, and to know that, you know, I have their support and everything like that. It really made me feel good inside, especially when I told my dad's side of the family, and, you know, they just said sorry, and then didn't even care less to come see me. They still haven't. It's been now a month since I miscarried, and still haven't even checked up on me. So, you know, that's just, you know, family is family, and at the same time, you know, I feel like my husband's family treated me with the experience, way better than my dad's side of the family. But that's a whole nother story for a whole nother time. But Saturday came. I took it on that Friday. Saturday came, and I was still bleeding, like still spotting and stuff like that, but nothing passed. That afternoon, that middle of the day, what's the afternoon? Probably like around 4 o'clock, my husband told me that I need to go to the hospital. And my mother-in-law went with me, but she couldn't come in, but she stayed there and stuff like that, and she took me. And they told me to give it some time. It's, you know, I gotta give it some more time. So, Sunday morning, nothing passed. Saturday night. Sunday morning, I woke up perfectly fine, actually. So I'm like, okay, something is wrong if nothing is passing. So probably right when I started waking, right when I started waking up, I went in the kitchen, started making me some tea and stuff like that, and all of I felt was like my water break. Like, it was like, and the doctors, when I went to the emergency room, the doctors did say give it some time, because what you're feeling is contractions. It's low contractions, like, you know, you're feeling pain and then it goes away, pain and then it goes away. Those are contractions, and she explained it to me. Those are contractions and stuff like that. She told me to give it some time, so I gave it some time and everything like that. So literally, like, when I was in the kitchen, literally, it was like my water, literally, it felt like my water just broke when I was just standing there making tea. It was like, and I was like, oh my god. So I'm literally like waddling, pingling to the bathroom and stuff, and everything like that, to clean myself up and everything like that, to see what's going on. And it wasn't even a water break. It was like a water break, like how it came down, but it was all blood though. So I'm like, okay, so, you know, then I'm like, okay, well, if she's saying there contraction, that means everything's about to start moving pretty quickly then. So probably like an hour after that, I started having the worst pains for a whole hour. It was like, come, go, back to back, like every minute. And I'm like, there were like severe contractions. Like, I was screaming to the top of my lungs in the house. Like, it was the worst pain ever. And then I just felt like I had to do number 2, TMI. And I actually did do number 2 with those pains. I actually did number 2. And then right when I was done with that number 2, all of a sudden it was just like a big gush. Like, I was done. And then I was about to say nothing. I was like, nope. It was a big gush. And it all came out. And after that, all the pain went away, pretty much. Like, all the pain went away. I really couldn't believe, like, it would go away like that, but it did. I did have some more after the fact. I did text my mother-in-law, and I texted my husband, and I called my mom and let them know that everything has passed and stuff like that. And then I did text, no, what did I do after that? I got in a shower after that. But I did have some bleeding, probably like a week and a half after that. Like, I was bleeding quite a while, like a little spot and stuff like that, quite a while. And then it just started going away. So I haven't really been bleeding at all since then. I do go to the doctors and get lab work to make sure my HCG levels has dropped all the way down to the single digits. They did let me know. They said, one lady said I can have sex and keep trying and stuff like that once I'm done my period. The other one said wait till my HCG levels are down to 0. So I don't know. I mean, it is what it is. But I did go today because last week my HCG levels was out of 20. So they're trying to get it into the single digits. So we'll see what they say today. But I mean, I'm actually really coping very good with it. I mean, it is a loss. It does hurt. You know, it really felt me good, you know, to hear everybody send me a happy Mother's Day on Mother's Day, because I did have a live baby. It just died. But I'm really hopeful, you know, and the next time, ooh, it's on fire. And the next time, you know, I get pregnant, hopefully that it sticks and stuff like that. And, you know, well, I'm hearing everybody say rainbow baby. I'll have my rainbow baby. So, I'm really hopeful. Like I said, everything is in God's hands and everything. Stuff happens for a reason. I did take a test. Was it last week? Last week, I took 2 of them. No, yeah, I took a ovulation test and I took a pregnancy test. And oh, you can't see it. And they both are positive. Well, the ovulation test is very dark, and then the pregnancy test is positive. I took this one about 4 days ago. 4 days ago, and this has a faint line. You probably can't see it, but it's like right there. This one has a faint line. I don't even know if you can see it. It's a faint line on this one. You probably can't see it, but it's a faint line. That one has a faint line, so I'm knowing that my HCG levels are still not down. Unless it's a new pregnancy, but they're still not down. And for going on to, you know, when I get pregnant again, me and my husband did talk about that we're just not going to tell nobody, you know, besides work. That's the only people that's going to know, because we did tell a lot of people, and a lot of people were, you know, happy and stuff like that. And this time, we're not going to tell nobody till I'm like 20 weeks. You know, I mean, it just saves people, because you don't know what goes on in your body and stuff like that. So we're not going to tell anybody, and, you know, keep it on hush-hush and wait till the baby gets bigger and stuff like that. And then I am going to go to a different place than I usually go to, a new doctor that treats, because I feel like I'm high risk now because I had 2 pregnancies and not a live pregnancy. So I'm going to go to this other doctor that specializes in that and stuff like that. So I can get frequently visits and stuff like that. Another thing is, I didn't even tell you, I found out I was pregnant on March 4th, and then I found out that I had miscarried on April 17th. So I miscarried April 17th, and I found out that day that the baby heartbeat stopped at 8 weeks and 5 days. So yeah, so that means that appointment, the baby had already passed, and if they would have did an ultrasound, they would have knew too. So, you know, it is what it is. I'm looking at the time. But I mean, like I said, I'm really am okay. I cried that day, all day. I cried, and since then I haven't cried. I mean, you know, only thing I can do is keep trying. That's the only thing I really can do. I am going to insert a picture of what, you know, the aftermath was like. It didn't look like no baby or nothing like that. But you know, only thing that we can do is keep trying, and, you know, that's the fun of it, really, keep trying, because, I mean, after we conceived, we didn't even have sex like that much and stuff like that, you know. You're scared to hurt or do anything, especially when you're that far along. You're you're not that far along and stuff, so, and everything. But if you have any questions or anything like that, leave your comments below, and I would definitely answer them and get back to you and stuff like that. And if you're going through the same thing that I went through, I would just say keep your head up, you know. And, you know, if you're religious, you know that God is, you know, here. He has a reason. You might be like, why me? Why this guy? But God has a reason. If you're not religious, still keep your head up. You know, you're religious, you're not religious. We all still cool. We, you know, we cool. We could. But I mean, just keep your head up, and you know, hopefully you got a good support system like I do that would, you know, talk to you. And if not, we can talk. We can talk. We can have a conversation. You know, I don't mind. You know, I just hope that, you know, you have your rainbow baby as I have my rainbow baby, and I know the pain that you're going through. If you're going through the same thing, I know the pain that you're going through and everything like that. But I just wanted to tell my story of what was going on with me and my story on my miscarriage, recently miscarriage, because I'm still going through the ACG level steps. So, and I still haven't had a period yet. So, but that's all for now. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Like I said, leave a comment, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.